Welcome back, fans, to another episode of everyone's favorite podcast. We are replacing our defending champion, some would say upgrading this evening, with Mr. Willie himself. Welcome back to the podcast.
Good to be here, boys. I'm excited. There's obviously no replacing Cam, but just fired up to be here and honestly super honored to be the first guest of the season. I have a lot to say. I have a lot of questions. I'm super excited. So let's do this thing.
Let's do it. And Colin, good to see you again. Welcome as always.
Yes, thank you. Wanted to throw it out there that this podcast is brought to you by the one and only Keystar. Thanks to
Let's
Willie
go.
and his
Sponsor,
our first
It's big
sponsor.
for us.
Yeah, no, seriously. We sponsor you. So
Let's dive into the action. We had an action-packed week 2, including a matchup of two of tonight's hosts. Willie continues his great run, 4-0 on the young season, the only undefeated team remaining in the league. Gets a victory. It was largely, I thought, over by the time Thursday night happened on the back of 28 from James Cook. We put up a good fight. We beat the median on our side, but it's too much. Couldn't overcome a poor game from Josh Allen. Willie's team is just a ferocious beast. Marvin Harrison came alive in that first quarter. That was the final nail in the coffin, really.
yeah, that was a great win. Pretty excited. You know, great way to open the season, guys. I'm not gonna lie, I don't have anything going right now. All my teams suck. I'm all in right now. So you just know when you're coming after me, like I'm coming like a fucking badger. I'm ready to win every week. So let's go. Let's do this.
That's
This
what
is
we
all I
want to
have.
hear.
Yeah,
That's
this is all I have.
exactly what I want to hear coming from Willie Styles and Temple Run Tua. I mean, bring it to us. It
Yeah,
seems like you do better when you're under the gun, and we want that fire under you. We want you to come out swinging, and that's what you did week 2, knocking off Big Nick energy. I mean, Marvin Harrison, like just blowing up, just like after the week after his quarterback says it's not his job to get him the ball, Marvin Harrison goes for 2 tutties. I mean, there's not much more you could ask for. That has to feel amazing.
definitely. I want to play the big dogs early. Glad I got to face Nick in week 2. Battle tested. That's what I'm looking forward to early on in the season. Boys, I scored 131 in week 1. I scored 131 in week 2. I have a consistent team. I think I'm the only team to score over 130 points in the first 2 weeks. I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling really fired up. Yeah, that's about it.
As you should. Yeah, great win. Excited to see how your team unfolds. Next, we had Johnny with a big win. Gets off the 0-2 Schneid, back to 500 on the young season. Another loss for Josh. Tough one, drops him to 1-3 here. 43 points from Alvin Kamara, really the story on Johnny's team this week. Didn't have great performances up and down the roster, but good performance from the defense. Jackson Smith and Jigba chipping in well. Jalen Hurts doing his thing, but 43 from Kamara. That was the difference here.
I always think the next year is going to be Kamara's year to like fall off, or he's just going to lose that shiftiness, lose that offensive line, and every year he seems to score a 40 burger. So you can't really count him out. Maybe next year I'll draft him and then he gets hurt week 1, but you love to see a 40 burger this early on in the season. That's got to feel great for Johnny, especially just 143 total, 100 from his other 10 guys. That's good consistency. This is all about Johnny's win more so than Josh's loss.
Yeah, super dangerous team. I mean, to Colin's point, Kamara's he can give you those 40 points, but you don't know what he's going to give you the next week. But up and down, he's got a real deep team and definitely dangerous.
On to our third matchup, Troy, 3-1. Unfortunately, Jason drops to 0-4. Going to need some help to turn this one around. Caleb Williams not getting things done for Jason. A-Chain, even though he lost his quarterback this week, still put up 26 points. Dobbins, one of the surprises early in the year with another 20 burger. Nico Collins looked great in that offense this week, 23. Jason's got some work to do. He's 0-4, only 87 points this week. He's got to make some moves, maybe shake up that roster a bit.
Yeah, absolutely impressive here. When your best player is the guy that your team name is named after, that's good juju, I guess. I don't really believe ever in the Dolphins until they prove me wrong, especially a rookie running back who just goes off for, a pop off play here and there. But props to him. He stuck with Burrow. I know last week we were talking about if he's going to stick with Baker or Burrow. Really not much of a difference there, but he stuck with Burrow. That's what I would have done. Great win. I know the median was 115 this week, but it seems like you got to score 130 points to win your games. That's just the number, 130, and you're smooth sailing.
Yeah, I love that 130 number for sure. Dude, I mean, you just compared Burrow to Baker Mayfield. I mean, that's absolutely crazy. A-Chain has scored in every single game he's played and he scored a touchdown. So I don't know why you're thinking that's crazy as well. What do you guys think about Caleb Williams? I mean, I think he has to be probably the worst draft pick this season. I mean, he was so overhyped for no reason, right? I mean, that sucks.
It seems like two things. So I live in Chicago, so unfortunately I have to watch all the Bears games. It seems like he is not making decisions fast enough, and his offensive line still sucks. So he's got skill players, but he's holding the ball and he's not getting enough time to get it out. I think if they move, honestly, if they lean more on the run game and if they move towards more of a quick passing game, like RPOs, just get it out of his hands within 2 seconds. I still think he could rack up yards because he's got the skill players. He just needs to get it to them. He's just not doing that right now.
Yeah, and 2 games in, obviously it's a little early to make any bold statements. I just really personally, I would have stayed 100 miles away from that draft pick. Not saying his career is going to be good or bad, but I don't know. Tough spot to be in.
Yeah, I would say it's the system. I mean, Chicago's best quarterback in the last 20 years is Jay Cutler, and he was setting interception records. So it's the system. If he was anywhere else, maybe not anywhere else, but if he was in a right system that was, catering and nurturing him the way that a rookie quarterback should in this league, he might be that guy that is the number 1 overall pick. He's got the arm, he's got the athleticism, but Chicago is a place where quarterbacks go to die, and unfortunately he was the number 1 overall pick, starting your career in the worst possible situation. That's tough. You're right though. I would have stayed. I would never have drafted Caleb Williams this year, even in Dynasty. I would have stayed away from him.
It's a little bit of like the CJ Stroud effect, of like people wondering, is there a rookie quarterback out there who's just going to set the world on fire? And Stroud might have been just a different beast.
One more question about that, just about A-Chain in general. So we talked about how he scored a touchdown in every game he's played. In Shine or Shade, is he going to score this Sunday?
I'll shine it.
Continue this.
I'll be at that game. I'm gonna be in Seattle this weekend. So I will let you know in person whether he does or doesn't. But yeah, I think they're gonna have to run the ball more. So I think he's gonna get even more opportunities. I think they're gonna protect Skyler. So I think Achane better score if the Dolphins want any chance of winning that game.
I'll shade it to stay consistent with my Dolphins disappointment. Not Dolphins hate. I'm a South Floridian, so like they're close to the heart, not as close as the Patriots, obviously, but they will be feeding him. I don't know if he's going to cross that, that end line. I think Tyreek probably gets a touchdown this week because they'll be just throwing him the ball on hitches and unders and stuff like that. So I'll shade it.
What about you, Willie?
I'll shine it. I think he's a dude for sure. I think he's proven it through, a long enough period that they're going to keep feeding him.
Yeah.
For sure.
Our defending champ comes roaring back with a 165 high score of the week. Just after we were done burying him on last week's podcast, his whole team shows up. Colin said he needed to find a wide receiver one. Looks like he's got 3 or 4 of them now. 1 week later, he's got Neighbors going off for 23, Metcalf 23, Shaheed with 19, Flowers with 19. Just crazy stuff. Defense showed up. He's even got Kirk Cousins performing on the bench. He might be a new man. Cam might have new life.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. The second you say anything bad about any team, they just shove it right back in your face. And of course,
stop saying bad things.
Well,
stop saying bad things about other people's teams.
For the content, bro. What am I gonna do? Oh, everyone's so good at fantasy, bro. Look at that. Dak Prescott, 12 points. That's so good, bro. Look at that. I gotta say something. But honestly, I'm surprised with Malik Neighbors. He seems to be the only guy with any sort of talent there. So good for him. Good for the Giants getting at least someone. But he's going to have the Saquon Barkley effect. He'll get hurt. I'll just say it now. DK Metcalf.
Saquon's on your team, bro.
Well, Saquon on the Giants.
Stop stealing my takes.
Saquon on the Giants. DK Metcalf, the Patriots just basically handed him a 60-yard touchdown. So that's like half his points right there. But yeah, Cam, you're so good at fantasy. Just keep being so good, man, and you'll win everything all the time.
Oh man, I mean 165. Wow, it's impressive. The best part about it is you have to scroll down past his first 3 players to see the real bulk of the points. I mean, the ability to do that with Dak Prescott as your quarterback is is definitely dangerous. Big blow or bust team, I think, but we'll see.
I'll go out on a limb and say something negative about someone's team. Rob's team stinks. It's not his fault. It's injuries, but Rob's team is a dumpster fire. That was an appropriate name change from Rob this week. You hate to see it. Couldn't happen to a better guy. CMC round 1, pick 1, and he's just not playing, and then he loses Pacheco. It's an uphill battle right now for Rob.
Did you thank him? Did you thank him, Colin? Did you thank him for your week 1 win, by the way?
I did not thank him.
Because you should be 0-4 right now.
I should not be. I should not be 0-4. I shouldn't even.
If it wasn't for McCaffrey getting hurt, you'd be 0-4.
Maybe. That's a hot take. That's a dumpster fire take.
Okay.
Nick,
on my screen, you're right in between us, and I just hope you're ready. I hope you're ready for this.
Break it up.
Back and forth.
Break it
up.
Yeah. Trevor backs up his birthday bowl win last week with another win. Low scoring affair. This was a defensive matchup. Eric, unfortunately, only puts up 92 points. Ramondre Stevenson, surprise of the season so far for Trevor's team, looking good. Only gets a half point from Christian Kirk, but it does not matter in the end. Strong defensive and kicker performance from Trevor. He's always been kind of a sneaky good defense and kicker team. I don't know why, but Trevor always seems to have the right people in those positions. And once again, that helped him here beat the median and get a win. Or not beat the median, but get a win.
I'll throw this out there right now. I'll make my case and then throw the shine or shade out. But he's got a pretty nice bench down there. Maybe it was just this week, but I think he's got one of the deeper teams. He's winning games, low scoring. Shine or shade, Trevor's going to make the playoffs.
I would shine that. I think having Jordan Mason is huge. That's going to be one of the steals of the season for sure. Alec Pierce, looked good again. Got another touchdown. If he continues to score, Hunter Henry looks really good. I think he's got a lot of pieces. Maybe he packages a couple of these together to, someone who's a little desperate and improves that starting lineup a bit. I think he's got the firepower for sure.
Yeah, I'll shine that as well. And to Nick's point, like defense and kicking, it's something that I used to always have as an afterthought, but I specifically focused on this year. Jets D, I think they're going to have a great season in that division. And it's sort of that consistency week in and week out that I think is going to gonna get him in there.
I'll shine
What
him for
about
the
you,
reasons
Sean?
I'll shine him for the reasons that I said. I think he's got plenty of pieces to play each and every week. As long as he can, stay on top of it, play the right guys, have, a good manager efficiency rating. He's got the number one kicker. I think that guy's the number one kicker from last year and continuing it into this year. So that's a good solid 15 points a game from a kicker. That's unbelievable. Great job there from Trevor. We probably said that was maybe a reach in the draft. I don't know when he got him, but well done, Trevor. For someone who, as we all know, maybe doesn't watch as much games as the rest of us does. He's showing that he's very much in tune with what's going on.
Yeah, he does his homework. That's for sure. And last, Colin, you want to discuss this? We were talking about Alex being a team that can sneak up and bite someone, and it didn't take long.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to start with. You said it last week, Nick, that Alex might not do so much for himself, but he always takes down a big team when you least expect it. I didn't even get over the median, just barely missing the cut there. So that's even more disappointing than the loss itself, because 145 is a good outing. I would have needed a lot more to even come close to that. I was happy with my team last week. I still am happy with my team, but I'm hoping this is my worst week of the year. 114 under the median. This better be my worst week of the year.
Not even close, bro.
Yeah, I mean, it was really about the Arizona offense, right? We talked about his team double stack. That was a name change this week after last week's podcast. And 41 points from Arizona really carried the day here. He got almost 50 points from Kyler and Connor there. Calvin Ridley had a great game as well. That's good to see. And
former Dirty Bird.
Yeah, true.
Former Dirty Bird.
Fairbairn was going off as well. 20 points from the kicker is huge. So, great win. Maybe Alex can have some staying power if the Cardinals can continue this role on offense.
Is this the year that Kelsey is past it? Sorry, didn't mean to jump in there, but
Kelsey's past what?
Like his prime. You think he's not going to be the number one tight end anymore? Like,
oh no, Kelsey's done. Did you see him and Taylor at the U.S. Open? Did you see them at the U.S. Open? That was the most cringy thing. That guy doesn't care about scoring touchdowns. What I would be more concerned about if I were you, Colin, is your starting quarterback is Derek Carr. I mean, how do you expect to make a playoff run? How do you expect to even make the playoffs? I mean,
well, Jordan Love practiced today. So as long as Jordan Love is practicing, that means he's playing. And we are talking about practice. We're talking about practice right now.
Listen, that's crazy.
Not a game? We're not talking about a game?
Not a game. We're talking about practice right now.
Wow.
So, hey, Derek Carr is doing well. He's the what? Number 2 quarterback. I don't want to hear nothing, Willie.
Derek Carr is like a single Travis Kelce. He wishes he was dating Taylor Swift.
What? Everybody wishes they were dating Taylor Swift.
Excuse you. I'm happily married. Okay.
Not me.
So why don't we transition to a new segment? We were cooking this up off screen beforehand. We're going to rename some teams. We kind of divided and conquered, and Cam pitched in with 3 despite his absence. Through 2 weeks of the season, thinking about if we were to rename these teams based on how they've been performing in the first 2 weeks of the year, what would we name them? I can go last, and I'll read Cam's. I think Cam deserves to go last. His are so good; they should be the caboose here. We should end with those. So why don't you guys go on your 3 teams, and then I'll read mine and then read Cam's.
I'll go ahead and start because I had Cam. And basically it comes down to him being the lowest scoring team from the jump week 1 and then the highest scoring team week 2. That's about as roller coaster as it gets. We all know that he is pretty good at this game, whether we like to admit it or not. But Cam Cooper, I would go with roller coaster Ty Cooper because he's on this roller coaster this season. I mean, nice. From week 1 to week 2, I had to get a pun in there.
It's like roller coaster tycoon.
Exactly. Roller Coaster Tycoon, Roller Coaster Ty Cooper, whatever you want to go with there. If you like the cringy dad jokes, welcome to my world now.
You're not
And
my
then
dad.
and then my other guys were Josh, who is the second most points against. So that's a tough look. He's going to either need to score a lot more points or he just has to succumb to the fact that his defense is not going to win him a championship this year. And that's what I'll go with, his team name. Defense is not going to win my championship. Simply because, like I said, second most points against. There's not much you can do about that, but other than score more points. But we all want to score more points. And then Jason's team, most points or least points for, and he's under the team named Dumpster Fire. So this is kind of throw it out to the audience. Like, what's worse than a dumpster fire? That's Jason's team name. I'm sorry, Jason, if you watch this. Maybe maybe my bad juju will help you win the next game, but I don't see anything helping you. You have a lot going against you for the rest of the season.
I like it. I like it.
All
Willie,
right,
you
my
want to read yours?
Yeah. So let me we'll start with Eric's team. I'm gonna call them the Bubble Boys, because I think they're a playoff bubble team, and I also think that they can't get hurt, so they're gonna have to be in a bubble. He's gonna be. It's not much. There's not much depth, but he's got some solid players. But if one of those players gets hurt, if Justin Jefferson gets hurt, that's going to really affect his whole season. CJ Stroud, either gets hurt or doesn't play up to his rookie year, that's going to have a huge effect on his season. So I like them as the Bubble Boys for, both in playoff bubble, and we got to keep this team safe. Let me move on to Robert next. Rob's team. We're gonna call them the waiver wire warriors, because he's gonna have to play the waiver wire to be successful. There's still a chance that he can be successful. He's got a lot up and down. He's got a lot of good spots filled, but he lost obviously some big dogs. So he's gonna have to be vigilant on the waiver wire and be shrewd, and he can still be competitive. Colin, Colin, your team is the House of Mirrors, because you are so confused and lost, and you have no idea what you're doing and what you're talking about. And like I said earlier, you should be 0-4. I mean, we want to talk about, oh, you did such a great job on the waiver wire after week one. Your guys that you picked up are now in your starting lineup. You've got, listen, I as a Giants fan, I hate to tell you about Saquon, but it's not going to last long, buddy. Like, the love is not going to last. You're going to be disappointed. Philly's going to run him. Philly's going to run him down. This is going to be, if not his best season, his last good season. They're going to run the shit out of him. What else do I got? Most efficient manager. I'm pretty sure that's what you refer to yourself as, or what you take pride in as, your career as a fantasy person. Congratulations on being the most efficient manager. I'm not sure how many championships that gets you, but good job on being a very efficient manager on week one. Your team is a House of Mirrors, buddy. I hope you have a big hat, and I hope you're standing under a large tree, because there's a lot of shade coming your way.
Yeah, no, I feel it. God damn.
Well played. Well,
all right.
Colin, I got your back. I got Willie up next. Although,
thank you.
I have nothing but nice things to say. I mean, the man's 4-0, so I named his team Willie Ever Lose. Willie Ever Lose is my team.
That goes so hard.
He's got the most points scored. 130 each week, the only undefeated team. So Willie Ever Lose is the team name for Willie. I also had Johnny. He would be 0-4 if not for Alvin Kamara. but he's 500 and in the playoff hunt. So his team name is Make Kamara Great Again, because that's what's happening to his team. You know, Make Kamara Great Again is keeping Johnny in the playoff hunt. So we went there, and then Troy is 3-1 in second place. He narrowly missed beating the median this week. Otherwise, he would be 4-0. So I went with my favorite line from an old TV show called Get Smart. And Maxwell Smart, who was like a secret agent, used to say all the time, missed it by that much. So that's what I went with. Troy's team name is Missed It by That Much, because he was that close to also being 4-0 and being up there with Willie Ever Lose. And then I think Cam takes the cake in his team names here. I'll read them, and he's got some analysis as well. For Nick, he said Saved by the Balls. Nick has had some consistent play from his core through 2 weeks, but the real stars like Mahomes, Amon-Ra, and Henry have admittedly underperformed. If not for some ballsy performances by his kicker and defense in week 1, this team could be on the wrong side of 1-3. I'm not concerned at this point with shaking the rust off on the playground, but it's a show-me league. And although he's a top 3 team, his team will need his star power to step up or else potentially be in detention for the playoffs. Very accurate. Great reference there to Saved by the Balls. For Trevor, he called them the Gravy Bunch. He said, not dissimilar from the family-friendly TV show, he has some players on his team who have experienced growing pains, like A.J. Brown, Kirk, Lamar, Kincaid, but he's also had other players step up to fill those gaps with some great cameos so far, which has led to some gravy in the head-to-head win column. Alec Pierce, Jordan Mason, Hunter Henry. Until his team puts it all together, I fear his team is going to be weekday daytime TV on an obscure channel. Nicely done. The Gravy Bunch for Trevor. And lastly, for Alex, he called him Two's Company. Alex had a great week too, primarily on the back of 2 of his players, Kyler and Ridley. Like the sitcom TV show, he has had some laughable moments, week 1 notably, where it was one gaffe after another. Although he got a win over Eric this past week, I think he meant Colin this past week, he's going to need to move some of his star power around, assuredly through trades to bulk up his core. Kyler looks like an early stud, but this is a team sport, and 2 ballers each week likely won't get it done. So great stuff there from the defending champ. Great analysis and team names as well.
Can I just say the fact that you're like, did you do your homework? And then he just ripped off like an entire massive text messages with, I was like, whoa. But to that point, I forgot to mention one thing. Colin, the reason I came up with House of Mirrors is because of week 1 with McCaffrey. I mean, Rob gave me that win. You should be 0-4. And your team's not that good.
Even if McCaffrey scores 30 points, I still win by 0.02. So 135 gets you done in this league. As you said, you score 131 both weeks and you're 4-0. I scored 135. There's no way McCaffrey's scoring 30 points week 1.
You just haven't played good competition.
I mean, I just lost this week, and Alex's team ain't bad. Look, you can have your opinion. I'm still confident with what I'm doing over here. I love me some Yak. That's where all my players need to get their points. They need to get that yardage after catch, yardage after contact, whatever you want. That's what I'm hoping for. Those are what my guys do. So I'm still liking my team. You can have your opinion. You can keep it over there in Keystar. That's why you got a construction zone jacket on there. Everyone's got to watch out for Willie Ever Lose. Watch out.
Get your hard hat.
Oh, man,
that's great.
Wire quickly. So we had 13 new waiver wire claims this week. I had the most expensive acquisition of Carson Steele. Beat Johnny out. Johnny wanted him for $8. I spent 13 on Carson Steele to pad the running back room.
Is that
put down? Go ahead.
If I may, is that just a scheme thing? You're going for maybe a potentially good running back on a high-powered offense, or do you know a lot about this guy from his college days or something?
No, I don't know a ton about him. I mean, I know that they liked him a lot in training camp, and it seems like Kansas City is one of those teams that just finds like diamond in the rough running backs. Like that's what Pacheco was. He was a 7th round pick. So I'm curious to see like if he gets the chance, you know, over the next few weeks, can he turn into like a Pacheco, right? Can he turn into like a 100-yard and touchdown kind of guy if he's given the chance? So, I mean, I know they're bringing in some other running backs, so maybe not, but this was a somewhat expensive flyer at, maybe this guy turns into a really good running back. And it was a position that I felt like I needed to strengthen. Ray Davis wasn't giving me much on the bench. So I thought, let's see what happens and roll the dice here.
Yeah, I feel like I could very easily eat my words here, but I thought that was a signature, like he's top of the trending waiver wire, so everyone wants him. It's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy if that even plays here. Like he's top of the waiver, he's top of the trending, so everyone wants him. But is he actually going to be able to fulfill that hype? And so that's why I was curious.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't gonna drop 50 on him, right? Like this wasn't
Of
a
course.
guy where I was like, oh, he's just, he's trending, so let me just like blow half my stack on him.
$13 is
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
You're good.
It was a flyer, but I'm not gonna miss this money if it turns into. Cam spent 7 on Cam Akers. Will Levis relegated back to the waiver wire. Rob did make a couple acquisitions for his team, notably Jalen Naylor and Luke Schoonemaker, $6 a pop there. Tolbert goes for $5 to Josh. Zach Ertz, I was so annoyed. Johnny and I both bet $5. I really wanted Ertz. He's been like one of the top tight ends so far this season. And I thought $5 would be enough for me to get him, but Johnny beat me there on waiver priority. Similar situation, but at a cheaper price point. I added Blake Corum. Interesting that Cam Akers was the old backup in LA, and he goes for $7 this week to Cam, and I got Blake Corum for $5. I still believe in Tyrone Tracy, but he's just not getting any opportunities right now in that Giants offense. So we dropped him. And then a few defenses being picked up for the rest of this for the most part. A couple Buffalo wide receivers trading places, and I added Jordan Whittington given all the injuries that have occurred in the Rams receiving room to see what he can do.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to take a back seat this week on waivers, considering last week going out and getting Alan Lazard and Madison.
And
I know I'm going
to.
I mean, look, you
and
blew
underbidding
50
me.
You blew 50 on Isaiah Likely, and he scored 4 points, maybe. So I'm not too disappointed. Alan Lazard didn't do much either.
But Minnesota D got me like 25 points. I think 22.
That's solid. I'm surprised with Minnesota's defense what they're doing.
Colin, they're playing the Giants.
Is that they're playing the Giants this week?
They were playing the Giants week 1.
Oh, week 1, yeah. Well, there you go. That's all it takes. But they played the 49ers.
Which we have a further conversation to have about that, by the way.
Well, they played the 49ers they played the 49ers this week and still are the number 1 defense. So like, are they that good? Or maybe are the 49ers kind of
the 49ers don't have their best player, Colin McCaffrey, bro. It's the only reason why you won week 1. I mean, pay attention, buddy.
Oh, have you heard of Jordan Mason though? He's like literally the number 5 running back. So I don't think it's the running back's problem. I think it's Mr. Purdy, the Purdy boy. I don't think he's getting it done.
I think you're thinking too much.
Any other thoughts on the waiver activity, or should we quickly take a preview of
my only thing is just I wish my friend Rob would have made a bigger splash to get everything he wanted, but no, this was the question that I had. How do you see what other people bid?
You click on total bids. And then
that's what I could. It was driving me crazy before the podcast came out last week. I was like, I have to know what everybody else bid on Isaiah Likely.
We can take a look. It was not that.
If you're on your phone, you got to go to the chat, and you can go on this screen and then click on where it says like the bids.
Yeah.
So we had Troy was the next highest at 36. Colin wanted him for 35. I threw in $7. Did not.
So how do you feel about, $50, 36, 35 being the top bid in week 1 and then $13 being the top bid in week 2? Is there just not that many good guys left?
I think that's part of it. I think that's part of it. I also think Cam said it last week where like there's definitely week 1 people overvalue and people undervalue like crazy. That's what you're going to do on a week 1. So $50 was always going to be a high number, and he was only going to be able to match that if he came out and scored 2 more touchdowns this week. I still think he's going to be the better tight end in that offense, being one of the 2 better offensive talents behind Derrick Henry. I think he can still be that guy.
So would you say worth every $50, every dollar of that $50?
Well, I would say he was worth about $37 because if you wanted him that badly, you only needed to put 37 on him. But if he turns out to be the number 1 tight end and when you win a championship because of him, yeah, $50 was cheap then. But that's unlikely, even though his name is Isaiah Likely.
Whoa, dude. Okay. All right.
Talk about overthinking.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
No, I was definitely super scared with that $50. I just put it in there as a flyer. I thought there would have been more. I thought more people would have bid him. But in my brain, I was like 25 for the Vikings defense, 25 for Isaiah Likely. That's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, I mean,
We'll
you got
the
guy. That's what matters. You got your guy, and the number doesn't really matter unless you run out of FOB by the end of the season and you're like, "Where's all my money?" Well, you know where it went.
Our matchups this week, we've got a really good one between Troy and Willie. We just talked about that. That's the top 2 teams in the league. I'm really intrigued to see that one. A matchup that I feel like underrated and important is Rob against Eric. I know Rob doesn't believe in his team. He's made some moves, but 0-4, not where you want to be. Eric, I feel like he's normally, a good starter, 2-2, not where he wants to be. If Rob's going to turn this ship around, it feels like he's got to pick off at least 1 win this week. If he drops to 0-6 and he's not favored, I mean, he's at 45%, likely to win this week. If he drops to 0-6, I think that really, really is probably the season done for Rob. So I think Rob probably has the most important matchup this week, but most exciting one from my perspective has got to be the marquee one between Willie and Troy.
Yeah, to that point, that's why I wish Rob would have been a little bit more aggressive. I know it's week 2, and it's like, who do you pick up off the waivers? And I guess he got who he wanted, but I would like to see him still be as most aggressive as possible to stay in it. There's still talent there. In terms of me and Troy's matchup, I'm actually pretty nervous. And I think I might beat the median, but at this also, head-to-head, I might lose. I don't know. I'm just due for a loss.
Well, you won the game last week with 131 points without Josh Allen going off. So the likelihood of him having another single-digit game is very low. So this could be the high-scoring matchup that we've been waiting for. Maybe both teams can put up 140. I'd like to see that just for the sake of high scoring. The league median right now is 117. I'll take the over on that. I have a feeling that this could be the highest scoring week of the season so far, just because teams are really ramping up. I know there's a lot of injuries, but teams are, getting into rhythm. Teams are finding out who their guys are. I'm hoping for a lot of points, and specifically with that matchup, I'm expecting to see a lot of points.
What do you think about? Sorry, Nick.
Go ahead.
What do you guys think about? I put in Samaji with the injury to Pacheco. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, I think he's going to get a lot of the receiving work out of the backfield for sure. It's probably going to be pretty close to a split between him and Carson Steele would be my bet this week. But I bet Samaji's going to pick up 3 or 4 catches as well. So 8.3 is the projection. That feels about right. I mean, I'd be surprised if he went for 20, but I'd be surprised if he went for 2.
And I think he was my second to last draft pick.
Yeah, it's a good pick.
I don't know what to expect with that Kansas City backfield, because they upgraded this guy Keontae Ingram off the practice squad today, and they signed Kareem Hunt, who has, we all know what Kareem Hunt did for them.
Who you picked up and you're starting?
I don't think I'm starting him.
You're
If I'm
starting
starting
him, bro.
him,
You're
there's no
starting
way
him.
he's in my starting lineup, bro. Get out of here, man. This is family friendly. I was about to say get the F out of here.
I can
I am not
confirm he's on
starting.
the bench. I can.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, he's on the bench.
he's on the practice. He's on the practice squad. We're talking
But
about
you picked
practice.
him up.
My
You
guy.
picked him up, right?
Yeah, you damn right I picked him up. We all seen what Kareem Hunt.
You're
The Chiefs
desperate. You're
made Kareem
desperate.
Hunt.
You're
I am
desperate.
not
buddy.
desperate. I'm
House
just
of
trying to
Mirrors.
find those
House of
steals.
Mirrors. House of Mirrors.
Bro, I don't know what to expect. They got 4 running backs there in Kansas City. I mean, talking about desperate, you got Samaje Perine in your starting lineup talking shit about Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt's a former #1 running back, and you're talking about Samaje Perine. Anyway,
Who's the #1 running back in Kansas City right now?
we don't know. It could be
Samaje.
Carson Steele. It could be Carson Steele, though. That's the thing. Who's the #1 running back in Las Vegas? Zamir White, and he's on your bench. So, look, we're all going to make our choices. But yeah, this will be the highest scoring matchup. If I'm proven wrong, then so be it. But there's no way this isn't going to be like an absolute shootout.
This is also going to be exciting because it's going to come down to Monday night. Troy has Joe Burrow and the Bengals defense playing Monday night. And in the other Monday night game, Willie has all 3 of his Bills going. So
Sorry, there's 2 Monday night games.
2 Monday night games this week, and we're going to have to be channel flipping because Troy's going to be scoring his points in one of them, and Willie's going to be scoring his points in the other. Both quarterbacks going Monday night in this one. So get your popcorn ready Monday night for the finish of this one.
That'll be one to watch for sure.
Yeah.
Colin, how do you feel about the podcast battle? You currently have the lowest chance to win this week of anybody in the league, 41%.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't feel great when the computer doesn't have confidence in you where you're going to get your confidence from. But, Jordan Love practiced today, as I'll say again. It says he's non-committal about playing week 3, but I'm okay with that. I like where Derek Carr's at. He put up 21 against the Dallas defense. He's playing a weaker defense in Philly. So I think he's, solid enough. Allen Lazard, he's going to get a lot of looks tomorrow night as the comfortable target for Aaron Rodgers. Maybe not a touchdown, but I expect at least 8 targets out of him. Look, I like where my team's at. I'm expecting Rome Odunze to eventually show up. We talked about Chicago's offense at the beginning of this pod. I mean, he's like a 6'3" athlete. I'm surprised he's not getting more looks. Maybe he is a little tweaked up a bit, but I don't know. I think I have a solid team. After what Cam did last week, though, I am nervous. That's for sure. I have to put up 130. I think that's the number. I'll say it a million times. I got to put up 130, and that's what it comes down to.
Any final thoughts on week 3 or anything else before we wrap up?
I'm nervous. Troy, I'm excited. Hit me up. Let's talk some shit.
There's a high chance we have 2 0-6 teams, by the way. Jason and Rob are on the hot seat there. Nothing will beat the 0-8 season from your boy, me, a couple of years ago. That's going to be tough to beat. So I'll hold that 0-8 proudly. Let's see if one of those 2 teams can. By the way, we didn't discuss what Jason's team is. What would be worse than a dumpster fire?
What would be worse?
I would just name it Gaza Strip.
Jesus.
Yeah, something terrible.
Okay. All right, there you go, Jason.
Train wreck.
Everyone change your team names.
Name it Crimean region of Ukraine.
Yikes. Wait, Nick, you're projected to score 130. You have the highest projection right now. That's gotta feel good.
We're rolling, baby. I mean, Mahomes has not performed in week 1 or week 2. I need him to get going, but if he does, and if T. Higgins can finally play, I like this team. That we've been doing this without T, and I was expecting him to be a big part of this squad. So hopefully he can go on Monday night. We'll see.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Yeah.
Who's the best running back in the NFL? I mean, fantasy-wise.
I mean, I think fantasy-wise right now it's Alvin Kamara.
But, like, would you ever predict that
No.
preseason?
No.
And, you know, it's
Let's
just
see. I'm pulling up the stats. Confirm.
I mean, if you're asking literally who's the number one running back right now, it is Alvin Kamara. That's for sure. But if you're asking
Literally.
generally speaking, who is the number one running back, it is by far Christian McCaffrey. He scored 100 more points than the number 2 running back last year.
But he's not playing, bro.
Okay, well, that's why I was just trying to clarify the question. But yeah,
I'm
Alvin
saying
Kamara.
2024 season, like, who's going to be that guy?
I
Because
mean, I think
that makes a
most
difference,
likely-
right? Whoever.
I'm gonna say most likely to finish number 1 is probably Achan, in my opinion.
That's kind of what I was thinking too.
If he can stay healthy and he's not going to get as much help from the quarterback play, they're probably going to run it a little bit more. They're not looking for him to be a bell cow. Like he gets a breather. Mostert gets in there, or Jeff Wilson gets in there. I think he does a lot with his touches. He scores, as you said, Willie, every game. I would expect at the end of the season, Achan to be RB1.
Yeah.
I'll go Barkley. I mean, you said it. They're going to run the shit out of him as long as he can, stay healthy. I'll say Barkley finishes number 1. He does have the second most attempts, just by looking at what I can see here. The most is Josh Jacobs. I got 2 of the top 3 most attempts running back. So I like that.
Yeah.
Whether they get hurt or not is a different story. Fantasy wise, run the shit out of them. I'm here for it.
Yeah. This is definitely
None of them have
Saquon's
completed-
best chance.
Those 2 running backs have not completed any passes yet this season, so that's an issue.
Wow. Who would have thought?
Any other?
Yeah. Excited.
All right. Well, good luck in week 3, boys. Thank you again to Keystar for sponsoring this episode. We look forward to our partnership with you in the future.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, guys. Love you.